In this video, we are tracking a massive storm system that will impact nearly everyone in the lower 48. From snow and rain to wildfires and increased tornado risks, all hazards can be expected as we go forward. We're getting ready to break down all the data so you can stay ahead of this thing. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. Once again, we have a lot to talk about today, so I'm not going to waste your time here, and we're going to jump right into talking about the weather. All right, looking at the lower 48 here on the HRRR model. This is going to show us what the radar should look like over the next 48 hours or so. It's not exact, but it's close. Starting off today around 2 p.m. Eastern, we are going to have those rain and snow showers working into the West Coast like I was talking about yesterday. Heavy rain from Sacramento all the way down to Los Angeles with intermittent flooding possible. But up here in the higher elevations, we're going to see well over a foot of snow in the Sierras. Around the same time, we've got snow squalls over here in the Northeast from Pennsylvania all the way up to Vermont and New Hampshire, especially if you live south and east of one of the lakes over here. There's going to be some cold air in place, and there's going to be some moisture riding down, dropping some pretty heavy snow squalls intermittently today into the evening tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if you see a quick inch or two of snow, but I don't think it's going to stick around very long, and a lot of you might just see some partly cloudy conditions today. It's snow squalls, scattered in nature. Not everybody's going to see snow. All right, let's push this thing forward. Watch that thing swirl over into the western portion of the U.S., around the plateaus and the Rocky Mountains. Now, a lot of the higher elevations over here are starting to see snow. Our snow squalls have moved out of here. We're warm in the middle, okay, as a ridge is allowing for some moisture and for some warmth. A lot of those ingredients that lead to nice spring weather are going to be advecting up here, but it's not going to last for long, as it is going to act as fuel for storms as this comes into play. We go all the way out into the 2 a.m. time period around March 30th. You can see we're going to have snow on the backside of this storm back here. In fact, some places in South Dakota and Minnesota right in here, I think could see over 3 or 4 inches of snow, and then even some ice, some freezing rain on this side. Now, I don't think we're going to have a big ice storm over here or anything, but certainly an intermittent period of freezing rain that will then be replaced by regular rain is going to be expected in Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and then a big area underneath here is going to be dealing with that severe weather. And something that's not really been talked about is this over here behind the severe weather. The dry air that's coming in on the underside of this trough is going to possibly spark a critical fire weather event down here. All right, so today there's a critical fire risk in the northern and northwestern portion of the panhandle of Texas, a lot of northeastern New Mexico, and a little sliver of the western portion of Oklahoma. But look at this, tomorrow there is a very large critical risk area for wildfires in the red zone. If we look at the wind gusts down here behind the storm system, especially tomorrow around 4 p.m., we're going to see some places that have 40, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts in and around Amarillo just without any thunderstorms. In fact, there's not going to be any thunderstorms at all because it's going to be so dry back here. We have dew points way down in the 20s over here in the critical fire risk zone. So we have really dry weather on top of the high winds. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a serious situation. Please be aware of this, and please take this seriously. A lot of people don't. You don't want to be outside burning stuff. I wouldn't even do like an open flame, like grilling out barbecue situation. I wouldn't do anything that requires lighting anything on fire, including like the gender reveal parties and stuff where you blow something up. Like we've seen this happen before, and what we're seeing in front of us here is the perfect conditions for something small like that to turn into a very big problem. Remember, guys, we've got firefighters out there, we've got volunteers, we've got people who put their lives on the line to help us deal with these things. Let's not make their jobs harder. Now, this big area of dry air is crashing up against a very moist air mass. If you can see all the greens and blues over here, those are dew points above 50 degrees, and that's where we're going to see our storms. All right, Storm Prediction Center has put out a slight risk of severe weather that goes from just north of Austin, Texas, up through Dallas, Wichita Falls, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita, and then of course into the Kansas City region as well. Even a small portion of Iowa up here is included in this very, very large slight risk of severe weather. Here's the tornado risk outlook, and we've got that 2% for everyone in green and the 5% for everybody in the brown there. That includes Oklahoma City and Dallas. If we take a look at that future radar once again, this is kind of what the radar could look like as we go through the day tomorrow. You can see all the way by 6 p.m. nothing is really happening here. It's just getting warmer. It's getting more moist. But eventually that boundary layer does come in and start to spark off some storms around Wichita, up here all the way north and west of Omaha. When these things first pop off, the biggest threat I believe is going to be hail. Okay, so and then very quickly the focus is going to shift from hail to straight line damaging winds as this is coming together. together kind of in a linear mode here from Tulsa down through Oklahoma City, and then especially down here towards San Angelo. This is also an area where we could maybe see an isolated tornado or two, but I'm telling you guys, the main threat is by far going to be the damaging winds. Don't let that deter you from being weather aware though, because these storms are going to be packing a punch with or without tornadoes. Guys, remember, straight line damaging winds can cause tornado-like damage. It doesn't have to be a swirling cone falling from the sky for you to get hurt by it. So be weather aware tomorrow into the early morning hours on Wednesday, okay? Because this is going to go east throughout the overnight period, and it's going to continue to get more intense. All right, and that leads us to the main event, which is going to be this enhanced risk of severe weather on Wednesday. Here's those storms popping up once again in the slight risk area tomorrow. By 1 a.m., they are working their way through Tulsa, and then, of course, a couple random cells here in Iowa as well. Some of the strongest winds will be right in here in eastern Oklahoma down through the Dallas area in the early morning hours on Wednesday. But watch how this thing is really swirling up. It's really allowing for more moisture to pop up out in front of the storms over here. But I want you to pay attention to what's happening here. This is a linear mode of storms, guys. This is a straight line damaging wind, squall line, traditional severe weather event. I don't see a huge tornado risk here unless we see supercells pop up out in front of the line down here on the southern portion of this storm. Now, don't get me wrong. Inside of this line, we are going to see tornadoes. Let me repeat that. There will be tornadoes. However, a lot of times when they're in these lines, they're quick spin ups and they're not those long track violent tornadoes. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't worry about it, because quick spin up tornadoes, you can't see them coming. A lot of times they're wrapped in rain and they can still cause significant damage to your home. So I want you to be weather aware, but I just feel like I need to really communicate all of the risks here and all of the things that we're not worried about as well. You can see that those 850 millibar winds really start to crank up around that 2 p.m. time frame, and they're going to be with us all the way through the rest of the evening as well, but everything's a little displaced. Nothing's incredibly organized about this storm system, which leads me to believe that we're not going to see organized supercells in this event. It's just going to be a messy, straight line damaging wind event. But here's the deal, okay? This is going to be a wall of wind as it goes through. Okay, I think Memphis all the way down to New Orleans, and then of course as far east as Birmingham, maybe even Nashville. I think you guys are going to be dealing with a very strong straight line damaging wind threat. Winds in excess of hurricane force are going to be possible down here. And once again, this can cause damage just like a tornado can. So I want you to be prepared for this. These storms are going to be able to tap into this lower level jet area. When you've got 75 to 85 knot winds in the lower level jet streak area, that is a recipe for strong storms that have embedded tornadoes, and of course those straight line damaging winds that are going to cause a big problem. And then of course we have to worry about the potential for severe weather up here in the mid-Atlantic regions as we go into Thursday. All right, so the SPC does have a slight risk of severe weather over here as well. We're back to the Euro on Weather Bell here, and we're going to go through the whole progression of these storms on the instantaneous flash rate. This model shows us where lightning strikes could occur, so we can assume that storms will be there as well. So there they are popping up late in the evening on Tuesday. They're going to kind of congeal together pretty quickly into a straight line damaging wind thing as we get into Wednesday. And once again, I do think that the vast majority of the severe weather is going to be concentrated to a southern area down here, but some of those strong winds are going to affect an area even as far north as into Tennessee. I do believe that. You might not have the lightning and as much rain and stuff, but there's going to be a literal wall of wind come through, and the damage from it's going to be hit or miss, but I want everybody to be prepared for it. And then of course, as we go all the way into Thursday, late in the day on Thursday, we start to see a reformation of storms up here in the northeast that looks to me like if ingredients come together correctly, this could be a multicellular or supercellular mode. Let's take a look at that nadir juice. Look at that. We have those increased 850 millibar winds. That is going to allow for some spin if it's stacked up correctly with the 500 millibar trough. And I do believe that there is at least a marginal threat for tornadoes over here if those storms are going to form in a supercellular fashion, and it's not necessarily a squall line that comes through. Now, we don't know for sure exactly what that's going to look like. That's why you need to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to have a brand new video tomorrow telling you all the latest details. But yeah, this is a big storm coming through, and I do believe that that's kind of the perfect area for a surprise supercell event to happen. Not saying anything for certain right now, but that's kind of the area that I'm watching right now. You need to be weather aware over the next couple of days, okay? We don't want to have anybody thinking thinking that this is a lesser event because it's not as intense as the last one. Don't be scared, be prepared. Make sure you have a way of getting warnings and a plan in place for if that tornado warning or flash flood warning or severe thunderstorm warning, whatever happens, make sure you have a plan of what you're going to do when it comes through, because it's going to. A huge shout out to our members over here. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Once again, I'm probably going to be plugging this daily until we get to launch day. We're very close to getting our merch out. Okay, shopryanhall.com. You want to sign up. It's going to ask you to create a password and all that stuff. Please go sign up if you want some of that stuff. It's going to go quick, and then we're going to get it back quick too, but if you want that first round, you know what to do. All right, that's all I have for now. I'll see you tomorrow in another video. Goodbye.